everyone, and welcome to this episode of New Breakpoint. My name is Melissa Houghton, and I am your host for today. So we are having a very special discussion about women in tech, and this is all live streamed on YouTube and Twitter. So if you'd like to join in to the discussion, you can comment or chat on YouTube or tweet at us at Microsoft AU Dev. And before you do, please make sure you review the code of conduct and abide by the code of conduct when you contribute. So today we are talking about tangible ways that you can help women in tech. And we have a group of community leaders who are involved in communities that help women in tech, and including myself. So I help to organize DDD Melbourne, which is all about diversity and inclusion. And I'm based in Melbourne, Australia. And joining me today, we have Sammy, Akansha, Bronwyn, Kate, and Kat. So hi, ladies.
Hi, Melissa.
How's it going?
Hello. So all of you are very involved in the community. So I'd like all of you to go around and introduce yourself and which community groups you're involved in. And everyone's spread out across Australia as well. So tell us where you're located. So Akansha, how about you go first?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Akansha. I'm based out of Melbourne. So I'm a data scientist here and a Microsoft AI MVP. So I've been involved in a bunch of different things, kind of ranging from being involved with women in tech and AI communities as well. I predominantly run the Women Who Code Melbourne network here.
Awesome. And Sammy, how about you?
Thanks, Melissa. Hi, my name's Sammy. I'm from Brisbane. I work for Six Pivot and I look after their people and community. I'm involved with Brisbane's largest coding workshop for women, non-binary and trans folk called Muses Code JS. I'm also involved with a fair few women-focused initiatives, and within Six Pivot, we have a community mentoring group as well.
Awesome. And Bronwyn, how about you?
Yeah, hi, I'm Bronwyn. I'm currently in very sunny Brisbane, which is really good after a few days of rain. I'm involved in a bunch of different community groups. I do judging for a bunch of school groups like Tech Girls Are Superheroes, Young ICT Explorers. I mentor at QUT. Like to speak at a bunch of user groups all over the place. I've helped out Sammy on Muses.js mentoring, Rails Girls, and also Kate on She Codes, and then I'm one of the organisers of DDD Brisbane.
Awesome. And Kate, what about yourself?
Morning, everyone. So I'm coming to you from Perth in Western Australia, so it's very early here. So I run She Codes, so we're a coding workshop for women. We run 1 day, 1 week, and 6-month programs across WA, including regional WA, and over in Queensland as well. So I've had the pleasure of working with a number of the amazing women on this call today.
Cool. And Kat?
Hello, everyone. I'm Kat, and I'm the co-organizer of Girl Geek Sydney, and we are based in Sydney, like our name says, and we are a volunteer-run community with nearly 4,000 members. We do run virtual and in face-to-face events that are open for everyone and under the main purpose of getting females into IT and to keep them there. Our events are open for everyone, so you can always join. Yeah, that's about me.
Awesome. So we have people from all over the place in lots of different communities. So as all of you are experienced community leaders and women in tech yourself, what tangible advice do you have for the audience on how they can help women in tech? So Akansha, what are your thoughts?
Sure, didn't expect to be the first one here, but okay. Yeah, I think we were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier on, and something that really stuck out to me, especially in light of everything that's happening at the moment with International Women's Day and all the events that happen, it just seems to be, and I think Kat maybe mentioned this earlier, but it's just like a dump of all these events that happen in March, and then we never talk about it again, and everyone just kind of goes back to their lives as it is. And I think one tangible thing for sure is just pick up a few different items, whether it's making sure you're going to help reach, like in a meeting, you'll make sure someone's voice is heard. Maybe don't do it in the sense of, hey, you're a woman, please speak in the meeting. That does not help anything. Just, hey, I haven't heard your opinion. You might have something to share. Here's the space for it. Just make that space and make them feel welcome in the community, or whether it's work, wherever it is, just making that space makes a huge difference. just do it in the sense of I'm helping, but I'm not highlighting that you're a woman, because that doesn't help at the end of the day. But keeping that going over the year, not just on the 8th of March every year.
Yeah, definitely making that space and having an ongoing thing, not just on International Women's Day, which is an important event, but we want it, every single day of the year. What are your thoughts, Kate? What tangible advice do you have for people?
So I think it's super important just to invite people in, send them an invitation, invite them to an event, send them a job, and encourage people to apply. Women typically don't take as much risk as men, and often we doubt ourselves of, oh, I'm not sure if I'm qualified for that, or I don't want to put myself forward for that award because I'm worried about what people might think. But if that's coming from a friend and an ally, rather than a decision that you're making for yourself, I think that that's so much more powerful. People are much more likely to take those opportunities. So it's really about just taking that first step and sending an invitation. It doesn't have to be anything huge.
Yeah, definitely. I know I'm always more comfortable when I have a familiar face that's bringing me on the journey and, reaching out to say, hey, come join this thing with me, for sure. Kat, what are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with everything that has been said. I think the main message and tangible advice is really do it throughout the year. It's not just on March the 8th. It almost feels like every year March hits and every organization goes, oh my God, March 8th, International Women's Day. What are we going to do? I think it is about, throughout the year to proactively look for people that you can support. It's not just sitting there and waiting and saying, okay, yeah, I'm absolutely happy and open to help people. Go out into your organization, have a look into the meetings that you are attending and see, okay, who's not talking? Who can I help and who can I support? You can become the sponsor and the promoter of someone. You don't have to wait that someone comes to you and says, hey, I need your help.
Yeah, definitely. I think being proactive about it is definitely very useful and very powerful, for sure. Bronwyn, what are your thoughts on how people can make a difference?
Yes, for me, it's not specifically, I guess, for women. It's more, being a good person in general and building good teams. I summarize it as ears, gears, and cheers. So make sure you listen and use active listening, like actually listen to the person and not cut them off, and don't try and solve their problem, let them talk. And while you're listening, you'll do a lot of observation. So write those notes down. Then use your gears. So if they need a reference, if they need you to write them a performance review, really put in thoughtful feedback and suggest things and tell them about jobs that are coming up. And then at the end, cheers, celebrate every win. Anything you notice that they've done that is good, is different, make sure you celebrate those, and also add those to the performance reviews, and just actively help the team in general.
Awesome. So that was ears, gears, and cheers. Is that right?
Gears, and cheers. Yep.
Ears and cheers. I like it. That's a good one, and it rhymes, so it's all nice and easy to remember. Sammy, what are your thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts. Some tangible ways. I'm going to assume that this audience is developers. And so if I'm speaking to developers, what I would say to those developers who are in influential positions within your team, the theme of a lot of this conversation right now is sponsorship. So if you have a woman in your team, specifically a technical woman, what are you doing to actively sponsor her? I'm not talking mentoring where you're like, hey, how's your career going? I'm talking about, hey, Sophie, I think we're going to go into this meeting and I'm going to slingshot you in with this idea. Come with me. What are you doing to actively sponsor her and invest in her career? That's when I'm talking just specifically to developers. And the greatest window around International Women's Day, if you really wanted to be an influential developer, is start asking your employer, hey, what does our parental leave policy look like? Do we have a domestic violence policy? I think that's an important issue that women face. Hey, are we a WGA pay equity ambassador? I think if I saw some of those behaviors consistently throughout the year from our influential senior developers, I think you could really cause some tangible change. And if International Women's Day is kind of the marker for you to remember to do it, and oh, this is my window, please take it.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely serves as a good reminder. And I think having an organization that has those policies in place is definitely helps to encourage women to be involved and to feel supported at those organizations as well. So what other ways do we think people can get involved, or things that people can do to help women in tech and just diversity in general? Kate, what are your thoughts?
So while Sammy was just talking, I was just thinking about ways that you can, so for people who aren't part of a diverse group, it's really hard getting empathy and understanding of what that actually feels like. And I know that there was a really powerful moment that I had when we had a bunch of guys come to one of our events, and they were, 10 men in a room of 120 women, and I was making them wear purple. That's our brand color. And they said to me at the end, they were like, I felt really uncomfortable. I've never been in that situation where I've been the odd one out and I've been the minority and I've had people looking at me. And do you feel that every day? I'm like, yeah, that's what diversity is. We feel that all the time. And they were like, oh, I'd never realized that before. So then when they went back to their office, they could have a more meaningful conversation about what that felt like. So I think trying to get outside your comfort zone, that's what else we can do in getting involved in communities. There's tons and tons of opportunities to mentor and support people in a formal capacity within your organization or outside of your organization. I mean, we all run communities that need mentors, I'm sure. So just finding out what's around, and you don't need to be an expert to be a mentor. You just need to be like one step ahead of the person that you're mentoring. And that helps you and it helps them as well. So try and get outside your comfort zone and try and support the community and give back through mentoring.
Yeah, definitely. Getting out of your comfort zone and a bit of, walking a mile in the other person's shoes kind of situation to try and get that new perspective and point of view for sure definitely helps. Bronwyn, what are your thoughts on how people can get involved and help out?
Yeah, definitely the mentoring one is one that I find really useful, or judging in different like school events and stuff, especially for like sort of the next generation coming through. Any opportunity you can get where you can get all children working together on technology to show them that they can do it together and it's not a girl's activity or a boy's activity and it's normal for them to be able to work together and to be able to collaborate. It sets them up with the right mindset. So as they get older, it is the norm.
Yeah, definitely targeting the younger generation, I think, will help for the future years to come to sort of set that mindset up good from the start. It's definitely a good way to go. Akansha, how can people get involved from your point of view?
I think this is important in terms of you'll kind of see in the community the same women kind of standing up and speaking whatever it is, taking that onus off of them. Like they're doing enough. I mean, I don't mind doing talks about this and talking about my experiences with diversity and how I've struggled with things or how I've not felt comfortable in places. But there's other women in my workplace that I know are just don't want to talk about that or don't want to share that aspect. And it shouldn't be just on the women to talk about this or any diverse, like any minority group. It's not just the women. I know this one's kind of focused towards that, but whatever that group is in that minority, don't force that kind of burden on them to make the effort to put on all these events or highlight the things that they have to go through. Try and kind of be that proactive person. Like you're in a position of power just by not being in the minority. Like doesn't matter what position you're in the company or wherever it might be, you're already in a position of power compared to those minority groups. Just take that little burden off them and just provide that space or whatever else you can do with it. Just don't push that onto them unless they're willingly stepping forward. That's different. But not everyone does. I think people tend to forget that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. We're all used to being in front of the camera as here, but there's definitely some people that want to be a bit more private about it. So don't want to sort of push them out of their comfort zone, but still, supporting everyone for sure. Kat, what are your thoughts?
I absolutely love the conversation today. And it's so much that I agree with, because we are raising a really valid point. It isn't about pushing everyone out of their comfort zone, because if you are sitting in front of this and watching this and go, I struggle with a lot as well, and I need help. We don't want to push people to step up to be a mentor because they think they have to be a mentor. It should be all about proactivity and absolutely right. Not every female or every minority group really wants to stand up and scream it from the rooftop. There are a few like us on this chat who are like, yes, I want to scream it from the rooftop, but not everyone has that ambition. So I think it is really about, and I bring it back to proactivity, people who want to get involved, find a way to get involved. And it's so easy. I think every organization has, a community group that you can join to help if you want to do that. Outside of work, there are so many meetups as well that you can support. There's mentorship programs. If you want to get involved, I think it will be easy to get involved.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we'll share a bunch of links at the end as well. Or a link that has goes to a bunch of links so that you can find different community groups around Australia, and there's ways to find them. Sammy, what are your thoughts on how can people get involved?
I mirror the sentiment to as much as all the other gals have said, say turning up and things like that. I just think it really does take just one dev, like it could be one person in one company to make the difference. And if you're a guy of influence in a technical team, take it, like turn up, have the conversation with your leadership. You have the ability to get involved.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, just being proactive, like we were talking about, and taking notice of the things that are happening around you. Like if you notice that someone might be kind of ignoring somebody or, not being treated fairly, just calling it out, no matter who you are and sort of what level you're at. Just being aware of it and being proactive, I think, is definitely a good way. So unfortunately, we don't have too much time today. We could probably talk about this for ages, but I would like us to sort of end on a positive, and maybe if each of you could share a story about a time when either you or you saw someone else supported as a woman in tech, and sort of what happened in that moment. Kat, do you have something you would like to share?
Ooh, I'm the first one for this one. Okay, a positive story how someone got supported. Look, we at Girl Geek Sydney try to support our community as much as possible, and what we are doing is connect the dots. And I've just recently followed up, or I've seen a community member really reach out to one of our organizations. So in the sense of someone attended our event, saw an opportunity, connected our community members within organizations for job opportunities. And I loved to see that, because I was only CC'd on that message, and I was like, oh my God, wow. They're literally just connecting the dots and helping people in IT to get new job opportunities. And I absolutely applaud that. And I definitely want to see more about that.
Yeah, definitely. Connecting the dots for each other is always very good. Sammy, what about you? What's a positive experience that you've seen?
For me personally, it's actually a bit recent. A senior dev in my team, we were all in a big meeting and everybody was talking. And when everybody's talking, I tend to maybe just be quiet and listen. And we were talking about a topic, and then he kind of took a break and said, hey, Sammy, I really value your opinion. You always have really good things to add. What do you think? And he gave me the space to throw a different opinion and kind of shift the conversation in a different way. And I'll probably always remember that interaction because he's quite influential.
Yeah, it almost seems like a small thing, but to the other person ends up being really big. So just having those little moments of, Sammy, what do you think, can be really, really powerful for sure. Yeah. Kate, what about you?
Yeah, so I think on small notes, it's one of the things that I love most about my events is when I see people helping other people. So they're still beginners, they're learning something for the first time, but they're like, oh, I did that 4 seconds ago, and I also had the same error, and this is what I did. And I just think those little moments are just so cool because it reinforces for you like, oh yeah, cool. I know what I'm doing. I've got this. And for the other person who might be really scared of putting up their hand and being like, I don't understand this. Can I get a mentor to help me? For especially small kind of syntax errors, just having the person next to you kind of jump over your shoulder and be like, oh yeah, I can help you through this. Those are the moments that I love. I love seeing that happen, and then those conversations spark, and you build those relationships as well as learning something.
Yeah, definitely. Those little natural helping moments and building up those relationships are very, very important. Bronwyn, what about you?
I think a lot of the time, the really positive ones have been if you go to an event where, so I'll go back to the kids, they're showing each other stuff and how excited they are to show what they've built and how proud they are and how cool they think each other are for doing it. And the little bonding moments, like the daughter got to spend time with her dad learning how to solder, or the little boy was using Audacity to make this really cool music thing, and the kids sharing that and getting excited about each other's like achievements is always really rewarding, and to see them come back each year and grow.
Yeah, I always find seeing the joy in other people very rewarding, and I love, especially the young people, next generation, learning how to do tech, sharing with each other, and just absolutely loving it. Akansha, what about you?
Mine's a little bit not so recent, but I think this really did kind of change my life a little bit in my career. And this kind of goes back to the sponsorship part of it, where a colleague at work, who at that stage I didn't really even know, I think he just started a month or so ago, essentially kind of forced me into doing a talk. I want to say forced, but it was almost like volunteering me. He's like, no, you should come here and help volunteer. And like, I need someone to do this. And that literally just spiraled into like that 1 10-minute talk has spiraled into me here, like having done conferences and gone internationally speaking at places and going and getting these invites. And it's just changed so much. And all he did kind of essentially was like, believe in me of like, no, you do data. You've got enough to talk about for 10 minutes. Like, let's go. And it's interesting and how like it's really cool to see it now, where I literally was talking to a grad at work who's going to be doing a talk tonight for the first time ever. She's doing her first tech talk, and kind of just giving back that end of like that loop of not necessarily forcing people into it, but having that belief that they can do it when they don't necessarily at times believe it themselves. It's really nice. That sponsorship part does play a huge part in other people's careers. Like from his point, it was a 10-minute thing. He didn't put much more into it, but it changed my career. And just that little bit of sponsorship makes such a difference.
Yeah, I definitely am a firm believer in the voluntelling side of things. I often have been voluntold to do different presentations and things myself, but yeah, it helped me break out of my comfort zone and, sort of be in the position I am today. So it's very powerful to have somebody vouching for you and sort of just giving you the little extra push and nudge of confidence. So unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. We've had a great discussion and we could go on for ages. But thank you very much for being on the stream today and talking about tangible ways we can make a difference to women in tech. Our next episode will be Thursday, the 15th of April. And if you want to find links to different women in tech communities around Australia and other resources today, go to the debug log at that link there on the screen. So thank you, everyone. And thanks for being here.
Thanks, Melissa.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.